The president arrived at 2:30 today at Griffiths International Airport to discuss tourism in central New York. Now, Griffiths Airport, formerly the Air Force Base, was one of the only places in central New York with a long enough runway to land Air Force One. Mission Readiness says the obesity crisis facing the military begins here, in schools. Students are consuming 400 billion calories of junk food each year, or 2 billion Hershey bars. That's enough candy bars to pave 1,200 miles of city streets. It's one of the first two planes that Jim bought. At $25,000, it's no more than a new car. It's actually much more affordable than most people think. It's the lessons that add up to a hefty penny. The cheeses produced here are fresh, not aged. That means they are sold the same week that they are made. But Barry plans on expanding his business, which means the uncertainty about the FDA's ruling might affect him. Coming up on NCC News at 4 o'clock, the construction might make downtown Syracuse hard to navigate, but the streets of tomorrow are getting a technological new overhaul. This is an NCC Morning News Brief. I'm Ariel Levin-Waldman. The radical Islamic terrorist group ISIS is threatening to capture more cities across Iraq, including Baghdad. Iraqi leaders are blaming the attacks on the violent civil war in Syria.
This conflict in Syria, you cannot contain it. We will suffer in Iraq as the first country from the spillover.
ISIS commandos overran and took control of 2 cities in just 2 days, including Mosul, Iraq's second largest population center. The U.S. has offered Iraq weapons and air support, but President Obama has ruled out deployment of any more American troops into the war zone. The Defense Department says Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl will be transferred Friday from Germany to Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio for treatment and questioning. Bergdahl was held prisoner 5 years by the Taliban before his release May 31st. Defense spokesmen say the Army has appointed a 2-star general to investigate how and why Bergdahl left his base in Afghanistan, resulting in his capture 5 years ago. Bergdahl's condition, doctors say, is stable. In what's known as Phase 3 of the reintegration process, Bergdahl is expected to be reunited next week with his family. New details are emerging from yesterday's shooting at a suburban high school near Portland, Oregon. Police have identified the shooter as Jared Michael Paget. He's a 15-year-old freshman student who killed one of his classmates, wounded a teacher, and then killed himself. Police say he was dressed in camouflage, armed with an assault rifle, and he carried a handgun, knives, and a bag of ammunition inside a guitar case. Students at Reynolds High School reacted after the tragedy.
I don't know how to deal with it. It's crazy just to go to school and have these kids walking around thinking, oh, I have this gun attached, like you're not safe at school or something.
The police have not yet revealed a motive in the shooting. The fatal victim is identified as 14-year-old Emilio Hoffman. The shooter, Paget, is described as a loner, active in the Mormon Church, where he is regarded highly for his spirituality. In Phoenix, a priest has been fatally shot and another critically wounded in an attack at a downtown Catholic church. Witnesses tell police the assailant was a white male in his 40s who burst into the Mother of Mercy Mission Church. With no known motive, police say he killed Reverend Kenneth Walker and seriously wounded Father Joseph Terra. Police say a 2003 Mazda was stolen from church property and later found abandoned. Fire crews today burned down a luxury home that was teetering atop a crumbling 75-foot limestone cliff over a Texas lake. This instead of waiting for it to tumble into the water. Chunks of the luxury home have been falling into Lake Whitney for several days, creating an urgency over how to safely remove the condemned home before gravity sucked all 3 stories into the lake. It is, or at least was, a 4,000 square foot million-dollar mansion, and given the circumstances, we're told its loss is not covered by insurance. And that's our NCC Morning Brief. I'm Ariel Levin-Waldman. Gabriel Smolnicki is a netizen, a person who spends so much time online he practically lives there.
It's not so much of a thing I keep track of as much as it's just all the time.
It's a dangerous place to live, under constant surveillance by advertisers and even the federal government. But programs exist to offer some protection from prying eyes. The 2 easiest ways to stay anonymous online are PGP encryption and the Tor network. PGP encryption actually encodes your data with a password. Without the password, your data just looks like a random stream of gibberish. The Tor network, on the other hand, is a browser. It routes your connection through multiple IP addresses all over the world. Someone trying to find you would have to look through all of them. They have some flaws, though. They can be slow and cumbersome to use, and won't prevent someone from unmasking themselves with a careless post.
Software such as Tor or PGP should be used only as a supplement to vigilant online behavior for those looking to protect their privacy.
It might not be perfect, but free speech advocates say preserving the impression of anonymity is important for people who want to use the web.
And the illusion of privacy on the internet is what drives people to use the internet. I mean, look what everybody does on the web now. You do your banking, you do your purchasing, you do your shopping, you do your dating, you do your communicating.
These are activities government says could be suppressed or self-censored by the chilling effect of government surveillance. I'm Ariel Levin-Waldman, NCC News.
Winter has come to Syracuse, and this week marks the first snow. Many of Syracuse's cyclists intend to keep biking, even through the icy weather. They have some unusual tricks to stay warm.
I went to a bike shop once, ready to buy some winter boots for hundreds of dollars, and the guy kind of was polite and told me, you know what works just as good? Put on a wool sock, then a grocery bag, then another wool sock, and wicks away the moisture and the wind and stuff.
But cold isn't the biggest danger from upstate's winter.
Cyclists in the winter have two main problems. The first of which is other cars can't see them on the road. The reflector here does not give off enough light to be seen through a snowstorm. The secondary huge issue is the fact that there is salt and mud on the road. The wheels throw it into the chains and the gear, which rusts them and they can break. These are the main issues that cyclists say they have to look after.
So how do cyclists stay seen in the snow? Lights are the most important, says shop owner Neil Huber.
Especially if it's like a snowy day, I'll have my lights on all day long because people are expecting cyclists on the road even less.
Winterizing a bicycle can be done for cheap. Lights are around $10 and fenders to block salt water are about $20. Spiked tires are more expensive though, adding those can run $150. In the end, it might just come down to dealing with it.
You tend to fall a little bit more often, but you're going slower, so it doesn't really hurt. You just kind of fall on your butt and get back up.
I'm Ariel Levin-Waldman reporting for NCC News.